This is CBS News New York.
Right now at noon, an emotional showing of support from dozens of law enforcement officers saying goodbye to one of their own. The funeral for a Newark police detective now underway. And tensions are high at Columbia University after Department of Homeland Security agents execute search warrants on campus. And the Trump administration lays out demands to the university to restore funding. Plus, a roaring fire erupts in Patterson, a firefighter injured in the battle to put out this massive blaze. Good afternoon, I'm Cindy Hsu, now on air and streaming on CBS News New York. We begin with the final farewell for Newark Police Detective Joseph Azcona, who was shot and killed in the line of duty last Friday. Video from Chopper 2 around 10 o'clock this morning shows the large crowd of officers from around the state gathered to say goodbye to the fallen hero. Christine Sloan covers New Jersey and joins us live from the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart in Newark. Christine.
Cindy, it has been an emotional morning here in Newark. Detective Joseph Azcona was just 26 years old when he was shot and killed in the line of duty. Right now, the governor, his family, lawmakers, and so many others are here at the Cathedral Basilica paying their respects. Detective Joseph Azcona's flag-draped casket carried into the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart as family, friends, Newark officers, and other law enforcement from around the state gathered to honor the fallen hero. A poignant moment when the detective's hat was taken in.
To lose an officer like this so young at the start of his career, the valor that he showed, and the other officers went that night when a 14-year-old has an automatic weapon that can shoot those kind of rounds. This is, I think, shattered our community.
Earlier in the morning, a private prayer at St. Lucy's Church, where fellow officers marched the young detective's casket to the Cathedral Basilica. Newark's cardinal and those close to Detective Azcona describing a young officer raised in Newark who rose through the ranks to become a decorated officer.
We don't flee from pain. Joseph didn't do that. As a police officer, he came face to face. He touched wounds. He saw the suffering that people can inflict on each other.
Detective Azcona posthumously promoted to sergeant. The mayor of Newark calling him a superhero who made a deliberate effort to save the lives of others. A 14-year-old, as we've been telling you, has been charged with his murder as well as the attempted murder of another officer. We're live in Newark. Christine Sloan, CBS News, New York.
Christine, thank you. And we will have continuing coverage of Detective Azcona's funeral. You can watch a live feed of the proceedings on our streaming channel, CBS News New York, right now. And we'll have the full funeral on our website, cbsnewyork.com. Now to a developing story. Hamas has agreed to release a New Jersey native held hostage since the October 7th attacks. As part of the negotiations, 21-year-old Israeli soldier Idan Alexander will be returned, as well as the bodies of 4 other dual nationals who died in captivity. Alexander is originally from Tenafly. He joined the Israeli Defense Forces after graduating from high school. Shortly after Thanksgiving last year, Hamas released a propaganda video that showed Idan still alive. Hamas did not specify when he and the 4 bodies will be released. Breaking news, we have just learned of the arrest of a second student involved in a pro-Palestinian demonstration at Columbia University. This comes after federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security searched 2 student dorm rooms last night, but did not arrest anyone. Masa Saidi is outside the campus in Morningside Heights with details. Masa.
Hi there, Cindy. Some more on that breaking news update. As you said, we have just learned that another student from Colombia was arrested yesterday. This according to multiple sources with Homeland Security. They say that the student overstayed her visa. They also say that she was arrested back in April for what law enforcement is calling involvement in a pro-Hamas protest here on Columbia's campus. And we are expecting multiple rallies on campus today. Tensions high at Columbia University Friday, hours after federal agents executed search warrants on campus. We've learned DHS officers searched 2 student residences. The university's interim president, Katrina Armstrong, saying she's, quote, heartbroken by the search, but adding no one was arrested or detained, and the university is obligated to comply with the law. This comes as the Trump administration demands big changes at Columbia before they potentially regain access to federal funding. In a letter to President Armstrong yesterday, the administration outlined immediate next steps, including enforce existing disciplinary policies, institute a mask ban, and formalize a definition of anti-Semitism. The school has 1 week to document compliance. Meantime, disturbing allegations from the lawyers of pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil, who are now suing the government in the hopes of his immediate release. In a legal filing Thursday, his lawyers claim he was shackled as he was rushed to Louisiana last weekend in a manner that left him feeling like he was being kidnapped. We will not comply, Mahmoud! We are by your side! Early Thursday, protesters took over the lobby of Trump Tower, 98 of them arrested for trespassing. Their message for ICE, release Mahmoud Khalil.
If you are an American and you believe in the Constitution, you should be standing here today.
Last year's demonstrations culminated in protesters taking over Hamilton Hall. It's unclear if Khalil was involved, but in a letter to students Thursday, Columbia's administration said it issued sanctions to students who were involved, ranging from multi-year suspensions, temporary degree revocations, and expulsions. So again, lots happening on campus today. We are expecting at least 2 rallies. The first set to take place at 12:30 behind me for Mahmoud Khalil, the pro-Palestinian activist who is right now in ICE custody. Another rally set to take place at 1:30 for one of the workers who was suspended for taking part in the demonstrations last year. Meantime, Columbia is declining to comment on pending litigation. We'll keep you up to date with everything that happens today at 5 and at 6. For now, that's the very latest in Morningside Heights. I'm Masa Saidi, CBS News, New York.
Masa, thank you. Issues that can strongly impact New Yorkers are being discussed in our nation's capital right now. Governor Kathy Hochul is meeting with President Trump at the White House. Hochul is expected to bring up her attempt to save congestion pricing in the face of the Trump administration's orders to shut it down. President Trump says he wants to discuss a natural gas pipeline that would run through New York. We'll have much more on the Oval Office meeting later today at 5. And there's now fewer than 12 hours before a midnight deadline for a government shutdown. Senate Democrats are now expected to help advance a Republican-led funding bill in order to avert it. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he plans to back the measure, which would keep the federal government running through September. Some Democrats say the bill gives President Trump too much discretion over spending decisions. But Schumer says as bad as the GOP bill is, a shutdown would be far worse. Now to our first alert forecast and a live look outside. We're feeling some mild temperatures on this cloudy day, but the weather won't hold up this weekend. John is here with a look at the first alert weather day on the way and tracking the threat of heavy rain.
Yeah, it's very dynamic, Cindy. We've got really pretty conditions right now. Over my shoulder, it looks nice. And we've got a nice temperature spread around the city. Bright and mild today, damp and gray tomorrow. And this is what Cindy's talking about. Very dynamic Sunday, windy, warm, with storms to wrap up the weekend. Right now, about an 8-degree spread around the city from 45 to 53. Numbers are a lot more uniform than they were yesterday. I should say more uniform because of that east wind. Well, with the absence of that, we're closer together and we're moving on up. It's going to be a warm day today, and it's quiet right now. You're in fine shape, but I just want to paint with a big brush. There's a big storm brewing, and it is going to impact your weekend. We'll time out your first alert weather and have the rest of your 7-day in a bit. Right now, though, right back to Cindy.
John, thank you. A firefighter was injured this morning while battling a blaze in Paterson, New Jersey. This is video earlier from Chopper 2 over McBride Avenue. Officials tell us the back of the home collapsed, burying the firefighter in rubble. He was burned and taken to a hospital in serious condition. We're told his injuries are not life-threatening. The day after a massive fire alarm fire destroyed a row of small businesses in the Morris Heights section of the Bronx, shop owners are facing an uncertain future. Natalie Duddridge reports on the support pouring in to help them start over.
Well, Cindy, this was a bustling strip of businesses, and now you can see what's left here. Boarded up shops. Thursday morning, this fire ripped through these stores along West Burnside, leaving at least 8 gutted. Officials say some of them are beyond repair and may need to be demolished. Business owners tell us they lost everything. Some employees now out of a job say they need help and fast. Today, the local Merchants Association met with the city's small business services. The FDNY joined in, emergency management, landlords, to help these business owners get back on their feet. They will be fundraising, helping with unemployment services, and also helping to navigate insurance claims.
My optical, I have next door a deli, the pharmacy, a big restaurant, a small restaurant, a phone place.
What comes next? Are these businesses going to be able to come back onto their feet? What happens to the staff?
Shop owners tell us they appreciate all of the support, but they know the road to recovery will be long, months, if not a year. In the Bronx, Natalie Duddridge, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead, another frightening situation on a plane after it catches fire. Passengers forced to evacuate, some of them onto the plane's wing. What we know about the cause of the fire. And a new study shows a possible link between gum disease and dementia, how flossing can help fight both issues. Plus, a spectacle in the night sky, the rare lunar event you might have missed while you were sleeping. Another airline scare, this time when an American Airlines flight caught fire after an emergency landing at Denver Airport. As Jared Hill shows us, the fire sent passengers running for their lives.
An airplane in flames at Denver International Airport sent passengers rushing out onto the wing to escape Thursday evening. Passengers say it started when they smelled smoke.
I look out the window and there's flames.
Ingrid Hibbets was flying with her family on American Airlines Flight 1006, originally bound for Dallas. Her daughter, Gabriel.
Probably like 10, 20 minutes into the flight, they announced that they're going to have to land the plane in Denver because they noticed that there was a lot of vibration.
The Federal Aviation Administration says an engine caught fire on the Boeing 737 after the emergency landing. 12 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. It's the latest in a string of high-profile aviation scares this year alone.
I don't see any connection between any of these events.
Robert Sumwalt, former chair of the National Transportation Safety Board.
Yes, there have been events that have been closely linked together in time, but we've got 45,000 flights operating every day in this country, and most everyone gets on the ground without any type of problem at all.
As the investigation begins, passengers are praising quick action from the crew and thankful this happened on the ground.
Because if this happened in the air, I don't think I'd be standing here telling you the story.
Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, flossing could benefit more than just our teeth. There is growing evidence that proper oral health can help our hearts and our brains. A study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease shows that people who floss regularly have a lower risk of developing cognitive issues. As experts explain, it has to do with getting rid of bacteria that can damage neurons.
What you're really doing is mechanically removing the bacteria and some of the plaque that is building up between the teeth, and there's really no replacement for something like flossing.
The American Dental Association recommends people use fluoride toothpaste, floss regularly, visit a dentist twice a year, and avoid smoking. Just ahead on CBS News New York, a first alert weather day issued this weekend. John Elliott's back tracking the heavy rain, plus the chance for severe storms. And a red moon in the sky last night. We'll show you the lunar event that caused this spectacle. This week's 48 Hours investigates the events leading up to an Iowa mother who was murdered. Her family claims her death could have been prevented. CBS News correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti has a preview.
This woman was the key witness to a murder, her own murder. On the morning of October 8, 2022, Angela Pritchard was shot and killed where she worked at a dog kennel in Bellevue, Iowa. In the final moments of her life, she called 911 and named her killer. Chris Pritchard, her estranged husband, fled the scene. Angela had lived in fear of Chris Pritchard for months, says her sister, Wendy Buddy.
I knew something like this was going to happen.
Wendy says Angela documented her husband's escalating rage on brightly colored sticky notes, her diary of domestic abuse.
He's been stalking me and watching me. I think Chris is capable of anything.
What do you do when nobody's willing to help you?
48 Hours correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti joins us now. Jonathan, why didn't the Bellevue police arrest Chris Pritchard when the no contact order was violated?
Cindy, it is the question at the heart of this tragedy. Chris Pritchard allegedly violated that no contact order at least 12 times. In each and every case, he was not arrested. Angela's family says that's because Chris Pritchard was friends with the 3 responding police officers who they claim showed favoritism when responding to those many 911 calls. Angela's family currently has a civil lawsuit against the Bellevue Police Department. They argue had action been taken quicker, Angela would still be alive today.
So what ended up happening to Chris Pritchard?
So there was a trial, and the jury deliberated for only about an hour. When all was said and done, he was found guilty, convicted, now sentenced to life in prison without the opportunity for parole. As you can imagine, the family finding relief, saying that justice has been served, but still they are struggling to comprehend and deal with the loss of Angela, a loss they say could have been prevented, Cindy.
Wow, and all the missteps along the way. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You can watch the full story on 48 Hours tomorrow at 10 p.m. right here on CBS New York. It is 12:21. Let's talk weather now. John Elliott has your first alert forecast. Big changes coming.
And welcome back, Cindy. I hope you had a great trip.
Yes, I
did. Good. We love to hear those stories. Hey, we love to spend lunchtime with you. Appreciate the weather watchers. This is kind of interesting. You've got 48 to 48 and smack dab in the middle, almost 60. So it is going to be a warmer day. Oh, the pictures tell quite the story. So Tony sent this in, well north and west. There's still ice out there. No bueno. It's way too thin. It's not going to support anybody on Pi Day. And this weather is really for the birds in a good way. Look at these robins. That is some good work. And Cindy, you'll appreciate this because Opie is ready. Opie's ready for St. Patrick's Day. So here's the deal. For St. Patrick's Day, we have to leave rain in the forecast for the early morning. We'll time it out. This is as we're going to wrap up the first alert weather that's really going to pose more issues for your Sunday and Sunday night. Showed you this just a bit ago. We're quiet up into New England, mid-Atlantic too. Watch this. There's a lot of rain pushing into the Central Valley of California, snow with elevation, all kinds of advisories there. But do you see that? It doesn't really stand out on this map, but look at this line erupting. So this is the kind of signature you hate to see. These are very powerful storms for parts of Missouri and Arkansas. Look at this. Today, here's the risk of severe weather. Think of the millions that are going to be dealing with that threat from the western lakes all the way down into the Gulf. And then tomorrow in the Gulf, and then in our area by the weekend. Timing it out for your backyard, you're fine overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. One feature tomorrow morning, a little bit of an onshore push, lots of fog and a little drizzly. Absolutely, maybe a shower to interrupt your Saturday. But it's, by and large, a pretty quiet day. Sunday is a dynamic day. We're okay to get the marathon up and running. It'll be windy, maybe a stray shower, but the worst of the rain really isn't until later, even into the afternoon. Parts of the Poconos see the rain, but look at this thing just marching on through. So that's why Sunday into early Monday, it's first alert weather time. We could see heavy rain, isolated flooding, gusty winds. It's just going to be a windy event. but even stronger winds could be affiliated with those severe thunderstorms. Obviously, too early for any kind of watches or warnings in our area, but we'll keep you posted, just alerting you to this busy period to wrap up the weekend into St. Patrick's Day. But look at those nice numbers. And here in the studio, we celebrate St. Joseph's Day, too, and it is going to be mild next week, too. So just hang on Sunday night, and then it's warming up. Cindy?
All right, John, thank you. Still ahead, a total lunar eclipse turns the moon red. The rare view in the sky last night. A show in the sky over parts of South America last night and into this morning. A total lunar eclipse turned the moon red. Skies were more overcast in our area, preventing a full view. If you weren't able to see it, you'll have to wait for the next lunar eclipse in the U.S. in 2048. Thanks so much for watching CBS News New York at noon. I'm Cindy Hsu. The news continues now on our streaming channel. Have a wonderful afternoon.